who are hungry. And Yes We Can Worship Center is an expert church at doing just that. If you want to help us to help them, send a check. 5857 South Central Avenue, Suite 180, Los Angeles, California 90011. If you want to help us, I'm not going to beg anybody for anything. I know there are folk listening to me right now who could write a check for $5,000 to help us. Some of you could write a check for $2,500 to help us. Some of you could write a check for $25 to help us do the work that we are doing. If you send it, it will be wonderful, greatly appreciated. God bless you, and you'll be restored and returned to you tenfold and some 100-fold. You know that as well as I know that. But if you don't send it, that is your right also. So I'm not going to beg you and prophesy and speak in tongues and all that to get you to send no money. You either send it or you don't. And if you don't send it, we're still going to figure out a way to feed these hungry people and take care of these poor people. But if you would like to help us and be a part of what we're doing, 5857 South Central Avenue, Suite 180, Los Angeles, California 90011. Your help will be greatly appreciated. If you're listening to this podcast, let me know that you heard me. 213-377-8681. 213-377-8681. Call me, Sherman D., and let me know that you heard me, okay? That's not much to ask. I just want to know you heard the podcast. Listen, my brothers and my sisters, what are you going to do with your president? You elected him. You elected him. You either voted for his behind or you sat around and didn't vote at all, and your non-vote helped get him elected. I just want to know, what are you going to do about him? You understand what I'm saying? That's your president, not mine. And I'm sorry to say that. Not mine. George Bush, I didn't support him. But George Bush was my president, not Donald. George H.W. Bush, I didn't support him. But George H.W. Bush was my president. Okay? Ronald Reagan, I didn't support him. But Ronald Reagan was my president. So one thing I'm trying to make to you quite clear, and I hope you got it by now, is that just because a person doesn't share my ideology and my philosophy or my party does not mean that he's not my president. Donald is not my president because he is one of the worst human beings I have ever seen on the planet. One of the worst. A horrible, pathological liar, an evil machine, arrogant, egotistical, narcissistic, just a terrible, terrible human being. When his mom and dad laid down and had intercourse, and his mom became impregnated with him, he was a wasted intercourse. It was a wasted gesture. Instead of having sex that particular night, his mom and dad should have went to see a movie instead. The earth would have been better off without Donald. Adolf Hitler Jr. And I say that with a straight face. Adolf Hitler Jr. That is who is the leader of the free world right now. Adolf Hitler Jr., a wicked cesspool of evil and sin. The devil incarnate. That's who he is. That's what he is. And I said that. Reverend Sherman D. Manning, pastor of Yes We Can Worship Center, joined us Friday night, 7 o'clock p.m., 5857 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California, Suite 180. We're right behind CVS Drugstore, right next door to Cricket. Come see us Friday night. You will have a time. You will be glad that you came. 5857 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California, Suite 180. Tell it everywhere you go. We want people to know. Come see us this Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m., as well as every Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m. If you're not in Los Angeles and you have friends who are in Los Angeles, tell them to stop by and see us. We're at the corner of Slauson and South Central, right behind the CVS Drugstore, right next door to Cricket. Sherman D. Manning coming to you live. We'll see you the next time. Tell everybody you know, We want people to go and see us Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Join me later. I'll be doing another podcast at approximately 10:30 tonight. You don't want to miss that one. This one will be all about your president and his collusion with Russia to win the election. Join us tonight at 10:30 for another podcast. Keep the faith. Keep hope alive.